So I'm here working on this neck reset on this Martin, and I discovered something about the truss rod. Very interesting. It may be a game changer. Stick around. So here's the guitar mounted in this jig that I'm using to check the relief in the neck, because the truss rod, as you can see, is hollow. Apparently in the 1970s, Martin was using these hollow steel truss rods. So I was looking at this neck closely and saw the rod in there. Usually there's a T-bar or solid bar of some sort. I did some measuring before I took the neck off, and there was quite a bit of relief. So I was thinking I may need to do a compression refret, and with the string tension, the neck comes back with a proper amount of relief, hopefully. But interestingly, with a hollow bar in there, I thought, what if we put some sort of an insert, maybe ebony? So I looked online. I couldn't find anything. I went to the StewMac website to see if I could find a piece of stock, something that I could use. And lo and behold, they have this carbon fiber that is for this purpose. And there was a demonstration on there by Dan Earlywine, and he's inserting this carbon fiber piece into that hollow tube. So I thought that would be a great idea to stiffen up this neck using carbon fiber and insert it into that hollow truss rod. So I'm going to follow Dan's procedure step by step and demonstrate it here for you on this video. So stay till the end so you can see the results if this works or not. Hopefully this goes smooth. Before I do the carbon fiber insert, I want to check what the relief is strung up. So right now, without string tension, just checking with feeler gauge, it's dead flat. I can't even get a 3/1000th shim under it. So right now the board is nice and flat. I'm going to go ahead and string this up and then check it again to see what the relief is while it's under string tension. Then after I put the carbon fiber back in it and remeasure it and see if the relief changed and how much. Just sighting the neck, there's a definite relief. Let's measure and see what we got. Okay, I see a little gap. Let's measure that and see what we got. There's 13. Where's my 14? Let's try 15. Just goes. 15. Trying to be fair and hold down this tongue so it gives me a relief from the body joint to the first fret. I'm able to get a 15 thousandths feeler gauge in there pretty liberally, so we'll call it 15 thousandths. That's under string tension. Jig break. I thought I'd take a moment and show you this jig that I made to hold this guitar. It's made pretty simply using some plywood screwed to the top of the bench. I left a little gap for the clamp to fit into, and I built up another layer that I used to squeeze the clamp and hold it in place. Then I just built it up with some plywood just loosely placed. This is just a spacer. Cover it with some protective padding. Now you set the body of the guitar right on top of that. And that's it. When you put the neck in place, you got your clamp, you got your custom call, and away you go. Let's get back to the video. Okay, the first step, according to Dan, is to do a little dry run. So the carbon fiber itself is rectangular, the tube is square, so you want to make up the gap on the sides with epoxy, and the tube fits in here with a little bit of play, so he recommends using this thin binding material, plastic binding, to make up that gap. And he comes in from the top with the binding, and it's difficult to get it started that way. I'm thinking I'm going to put the binding in first. Let's see, is that the depth? Yeah, okay, that's all the way to the, basically right before the nut. So that's going to be the depth right there, and I'm going to put the carbon fiber on top of that and press it in. Boy, it is tight. It fits, but super tight. Maybe I need to take a little bit of material off this till I get it to fit. Let me try it on the other side. See if this side is any different. Put this in first. Feed that in. It's right there. I mean, if I take maybe 4 or 5 thousandths off the back of this, just do a little sanding on it, I'll probably be able to get this to fit. I'm going to put the rod in there first. Make sure I'm all the way in. Put a pencil mark just so I know I'm going in all the way. Okay, in goes the binding. Now I'll slide the fiber. And it goes all the way in now. It's nice and snug. Get a pair of vice grips to pull it out. Okay, so that is the dry run. It fits. The next step in the process here, because we're going to put epoxy down into here, we're going to hold it upright in a vise and clamp it flat. I'm just using a carpenter square or carpenter's level, and so that's clamped in my vise, holding the fingerboard perfectly straight and flat. So we can now put the carbon fiber tube in here with some epoxy and let it set. I also have a heat lamp nearby, just keeping everything warm. So now I got it masked off, just protecting the neck. Guitar string pack works pretty good for that. And mixing up the epoxy. This is a 15-minute set time. I hope that's long enough. It should only take a minute or two. I hope this doesn't get too messy. I don't know how I'm going to pour this. I'm just going to use this long dowel, try to work it all the way down in there. Okay, that seems to be down in there. Now the fun part, getting these inserted. Make sure I got the right end going here. I have a line marked on the carbon fiber so I know I'm in where I need to be to the right depth. I'm just going to add more epoxy to help make up some of the gap that's around the outsides, because both of the sides have a little bit of gap. It doesn't matter too much because this isn't going anywhere. This is probably overkill anyway. You can see I got both those inserted in there, nice and snug. The neck is held straight. I'm going to let this dry for about 24 hours. It sets up in about 15 minutes, but I'm going to let it dry thoroughly, and then I'm going to put it back on the guitar, on the body, and check to see how straight the neck is. So hang on. Alright, so here comes the moment of truth. Okay, the most accurate way to check this, to go from the body joint to the nut, I'm going to put a capo on the first fret, touch it right at the body here, and then put a feeler gauge in the center. Okay, touching right at the body joint. Right now it's sitting right at 8 thousandths. Yay! It worked. It cut the relief in half. So thank you, Dan, for the tip. It saved me a lot of time and hassle of refretting this guitar. And it really didn't take all that long. If you have an early 70s Martin with a square truss rod and you just happen to have the neck taken off, give this a shot. Merry Christmas, everyone.